Hello everyone, welcome to Module 4. Let me share my screen with you and we will walk through this module together. Right. Okay. Module 4 is all about analyzing text. And if you click in the module introduction, it points out that last week you learned about the rhetorical context. Okay, that's the specific set of circumstances that dictate how a message is conveyed. So we were talking about things like the speaker/writer, the message itself, the audience that message is intended for, and then also the medium, or that is the format or the mode of delivery. Okay. Now, in order to persuade someone of something or in order to communicate a message, the speaker or the writer will often use something called rhetorical appeals. These are specific strategies to try and convince someone of something or to make their message have greater effect for their target audience. I should point out that the root word rhetoric can loosely be described as or defined as the art of persuasion. Okay, so when you ask a rhetorical question, you are asking a question of someone without expecting an answer from them because your goal, your rhetorical goal, is to use the question to persuade them of something. And you use rhetoric all the time in all sorts of other ways. When you're trying to persuade your kid that they need to take their medicine that tastes bad, when you're trying to persuade a friend, when you're just trying to communicate to someone new, you use rhetorical strategies to do that. Or you appeal to certain parts of their personality or certain parts of their personality is a good way. They're parts of their personality to get them to understand what you're saying or to agree with what you're saying. Now, if you scroll down, you've got some documents here that will help you out. So this one defines 3 important rhetorical appeals. The logos, which stands for the appeal to logic. So it's about logic, reason, rationality. When an author relies on logos, it means that they're using logic to appeal to their audience. They might present evidence, like statistical data, to support what they're saying. They might just use logical reasoning, like try and explain to someone. Like if you explain to your friend, you're talking to your friend about something, and you might not present data or evidence in that manner, but you could use reasoning to try and get them to agree with you, where you say, listen, what you're saying doesn't make any sense, okay? Because X, Y, and Z. And then you try and convince them to see the logic that you're using. So logos is all about appealing to the audience's intellect or their ability to see reason or to value evidence, okay? And there's a lot more detail here for you. You should go through and read this. But I'm going to hit the next one. Pathos or pathos is the appeal to emotions. That means that the author is trying to tap into the audience's emotions to get them to agree with the author's claim. An author using pathetic appeals, or the pathos, wants the audience to feel something: anger, pride, joy, rage, or happiness. And the example that they give here is exactly the one that I tend to give in face-to-face classes. You might see those commercials for the animal rescue societies where they have photographs or videos of injured puppies or sad-looking kittens, and it's got slow music. Those commercials make my wife cry every time. And I'll admit that sometimes I get teary-eyed when I see the little kitten with a cast on its paw and everything. And what's happening there is that the people who created the commercial are appealing to that is the audience's sense of emotions. That is, that this is sad and we need to do something. And their rhetorical goal might be to get their audience to donate money. And they use the appealed emotions to make that happen. So pathos-based strategies might include an author who has certain words that are emotionally loaded. Okay, There's loaded language that has a lot of emotions behind them in order to generate emotions in their audience. Here's some other great examples and things that you should read about to understand pathos a little bit more. Ethos is the third one. This is the one that students tend to struggle with the most. This is about appealing to the audience's values in order to build trust. So I'm going to shorten that to say, though, that really it's about establishing that the author or the speaker has credibility. You can trust me as the author of this text, or you can trust me as the speaker of this message, because I know I have inside information, or I have the credentials that make me an expert, or I went through this myself. So the ethos is when the author is trying to then put themselves out there as an authority figure, as an expert, as someone who could be trusted or believed. So they're building up their own credibility or character. Okay. Now to do that, sometimes that means they have to tap into the values or ideologies that the audience holds, like their sense of patriotism, their sense of tradition or justice and so forth, their values. But you really have to then extend yourself as the speaker, as the person who has the inside scoop on those values, who knows something a little bit more, who should be listened to. So make sure that you read this webpage carefully. And there's another one here about rhetorical analysis for you to take a look at as well. Okay, let's look at the assignment, Journal 4-1. So of course you're going to set up your document in MLA style like we've been practicing. And you're going to analyze the rhetorical strategies of 2 commercials. Now, just to make this clear, you're going to choose either the 2 commercials that are in pair 1, or you're going to choose the 2 commercials that are in pair 2. But you're not going to choose one from pair 1 and one from pair 2. You'd be surprised how often I get that. You're choosing just pair 1, these 2 commercials, or pair 2 with these 2 commercials. Okay? And after you watch those commercials, you need to respond to these 3 prompts. And again, my recommendation for you, to make things easy for you and easy for me and clear for your reader, which in this case specifically is me, I would recommend writing 1 paragraph per bullet point. So give me a thorough, detailed paragraph on this subject, a second paragraph, on this one, and then your third paragraph will be on this one. Okay, so your first paragraph is going to be about who the target audience is. You should already be familiar with this, or at least a little bit based on what we did last week. There are some specific guiding questions to help you think about this. And what you're going to do that's really important is you need to compare the audiences for your 2 ads. So that means comparing the audience for the Maserati or the Kia commercial, or comparing the audience for the Best Things in Life or I'm a Teenage Girl commercial. How are the audiences similar? How are they different? Are the age groups the same? Are we expecting that one audience is going to be more educated than another? That's the comparison that you need to make. So first, answer the questions about both of those commercials and then make the comparison within that paragraph. Second paragraph. What specific rhetorical appeals are being used in the commercial? This is the new stuff. This is the stuff from this week. So do you see mostly emotional rhetorical appeals? Mostly logical? Are they trying to prove the credibility of the company? How? You need to identify 2 to 3 specific examples of rhetorical appeals from each ad. So you should quote them. If they are words, then you should quote them. And if it's events or some other combination of events or maybe of background music associated with events, you can describe it, but I want to see that you use the citation when you do so. And again, up here, you got to be specific. Give me evidence from the commercials to support your claims. You're going to give me evidence from the commercials here and compare the rhetorical strategies employed by your 2 ads. So Since this is the new part, let me dive into this just a tad more. When you're looking to see, well, how do I identify logos, for example? You want to look for examples where the creators of the commercials, or maybe the actors on the screen, are using logical reasoning or are appealing to the audience's logical reasoning. So to use, let's say that the commercial that I'm seeing is actually one for toothpaste. And, you know, they often say things like 9 out of 10 dentists agree that Crest is the better toothpaste or whatever. Well, that's a logical appeal. That's logos there because they're giving you data and evidence and they're trying to convince you where you go, 9 out of 10 say this is the one that I should buy because it's better. Holy smokes, 9 out of 10, that makes sense. I should like that one guy who's the 10th, like forget him. I need to go and buy this toothpaste too because 9 out of 10 professionals say that this is the best one. So there's a logical appeal there. So you're looking for how is the company actually trying to use logic to get people to buy the product. In terms of pathos or the emotions, well, how are they pulling on your heartstrings or the heartstrings of the audience? Are they using humor? Are they using dramatic music with dramatic themes, you know, to appeal to your feelings in some way? Are they trying to be slick and to say that their product is really sleek and luxurious or something like that? Those are pathetic appeals or appeals that that rely on pathos, okay, the emotional appeal. And then last, the credibility of the company. You know, 9 out of 10 dentists trust Crest. Okay, well, we believe that Crest is the good one, or they're trying to portray themselves as the good company, the company that can be trusted. Or maybe sometimes car commercials will say something like, you know, the car that you can trust, and they'll do it by saying something like, you know, that the parts were manufactured in America by American citizens and these things where you go, oh yeah, good quality parts, good quality construction, a good quality car. And so they're trying to establish their credibility in that way. So you want to look for those sorts of things. And sometimes it's very small. It might just be like the emblem, the company emblem at the very end of the commercial pops up and they give a little sparkle, you know, that little special effect where it kind of like goes ding and there's that nice little sparkle and you're supposed to go, wow, what a great company. I can trust that company. But why? You have to explain the why part. Well, what are they actually doing to convince you that you should trust this company? Okay. And then the third part is more of your personal judgment. You need to determine for yourself whether each ad is successful. Maybe one ad is more successful at communicating its message than another, or maybe they're equally successful, or maybe they're equally bad at it. But you need to make an argument as to whether those ads are successful at meeting the needs of their target audience or not. So whoever you determine your target audience is for each commercial is going to help you figure out if the ad is successful at meeting that target audience. And the rhetorical appeals that are used are going to help you determine whether the ad is successful at meeting the target audience. You need to compare the success of the two ads. Okay. So this is going to be at least 250 words long and address the above prompts. Now, again, remember, just because it says at least 250 words doesn't mean that you just write 250 words and stop. Make sure it's comprehensive. Make sure you're answering all the questions. Do a thorough job. Format your document in MLA style. Include in-text citations for specific ideas from your sources. You need to cite evidence and cite your sources on a works cited page in MLA style. So use that formula that we've talked about. Now, one thing that often comes up with this is that people go, well, wait a minute. Who is the author of this commercial? It's not like a speech or watching, or sorry, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's not like watching a speech or reading a book where the author or the speaker is very easily identifiable. I mean, when you look at these commercials, you don't know exactly who the author of the commercial is, except you do. It's going to be the company. So it's going to be Maserati or Kia or Allstate. So a lot of the time what happens is that students wonder, well, how do I actually write the works cited entry if the company is the author? There's some back and forth on this. I'm going to show you the way that I think works. I'm going to show you both ways. So you can start with something with the company name as the author. So I could do like Allstate, and then I would put the title, and then I'm going to do the container. Now, by the way, this was uploaded to YouTube, so the platform that we're using to access it, is YouTube. Sorry. Notice, by the way, that where there's periods and where there's commas in this. The container is going to be YouTube. And then we said that you do the year and the URL. This is kind of the general approach that you're going to take. You can put the company name here, and then the title, the container, the year, and the URL. Okay. Now, there's a little back and forth about whether this is even necessary. If there isn't a author, maybe we actually start with just the title, like that. Honestly, I don't care which one you do. Just make sure that you get the details in there, with like that the title's there, the container, the year, and the URL, and that you've got periods and commas and italics and stuff. I don't really care which one you do. I would probably lean more towards this one myself, but that's how I do it. Okay, and then make sure that you add the hanging indents as well. So if you have any questions, send me an email, and good luck.